So I basically just woke up and why not make a video now before I go to school. So here goes. Um, Bon de Plume and Sophia. I think his name is Jay, so I will call him Jay because that's better than how I just pronounced that. They both made video responses to what I said, and I sort of want to talk about that a little bit, and also about the last thing Sophia said about how we can create a person or create a child and try to make them into some good human being, or what is the way to do that. And I have some ideas about that. I didn't really write them down, so we'll see. Okay. So Jay was talking about how the inner self, from society's point of view, it doesn't really matter because we are judged by our actions, and we go to jail because we commit some sort of crime, which doesn't matter if we believe that it's actually the right thing to do. Society has a bunch of laws written out, and we have to obey them no matter what we actually believe, because otherwise, yeah, we're thrown in jail. So, in that sense, our actions do determine who we are in society, along with, I'd say, how we look, physical appearance. I probably look really sleepy right now. Um, that's the first thing people see when they judge us. As Sophia said, they see the physical, and that's why so much, I think that's why people pay so much attention to their appearance and the way they dress and makeup, whatever, because that is important. You can't escape from, you know, the way you look, or looking healthy, at least, you know. People will judge you if you're really overweight, much more than they would if you were not overweight, you know, and they don't even know who you are. So there's all these factors, and I think that the outside also, like whatever, how you feel on the outside or how other people perceive you on the outside, that is also taken into your inside. So in that sense, things you can't control still determine the person you are on the inside. Like an overweight person might feel that they are discriminated against for that reason, but they'd also feel like, oh, I'm really fat, I must be like, I'm really disgusting. You know, they have all these thoughts all of a sudden, and then they're like, oh, maybe I should lose weight, and then their self-esteem is like, you know, they're not confident, they have absolutely, but then if they, I don't know, lose weight, and then they have more positive feedback from people, um, then their confidence levels might go up again. So in that sense, and also with our actions too, if we obey society and do what it wants us to do, we'll be rewarded, and if we don't, we aren't rewarded. So in that sense, we have to pretend, and then that pretending results in some sort of positive feedback, and then we're like, oh, you know, we gain more confidence in our pretending. So in that way, we are who we pretend to be. And I know the word pretend, Rob, who also made a video response but didn't actually post it, but I watched it. It was really quiet though, so I couldn't really understand. If you have a problem with the word pretend, and we should use the word decide, whereas I don't really think it's that big of a difference. Because I think we decide who we are, yes, who we pretend to be though, can I word this? Who we pretend to be is also who we decide to be, but at the same time, um, we can decide to be more than one person, and we can pretend to be more than one person as well. I don't know. I don't really have a problem with the word pretend. because part of deciding is pretending. I mean, you aren't this initial person. You take on, oops, sorry, you take on a different role. So I also liked, yeah, that what Jay said about that we are causality, that even though we are determined by the causal chain, and that, you know, our actions are governed by causal laws, and we can't really escape from that if you try and you're like, you want to abolish reason, kind of like the Underground Man. It's impossible because we're all trapped in this. But we still see our actions as free, and we still act as if they're free, and there seems to be a bit of a freedom in that, so we kind of, in that sense, I think, control the causality, or we create it, even though we are at the same time paradoxically contained in it. He worded it better. That was a really good video. That's what I got out of it. And now I wanted also to talk about the creation of the self and how we can take, I guess, charge of who we want to be and who we want to pretend to be, which is not that different from who we decide to be. So, and how we can manipulate children in order to turn out in a more positive way. I think it's been shown that things like violent video games are actually really detrimental to children, and it does provide as a sort of, they have a figure of violence that they look up to, and even if they don't immediately react in that same way, they still have that knowledge of some sort of figure that they look up to, even though it's in a video game. They know how to act violently, and they learn in that sense. And also, what's more obvious is when parents beat their children, or I don't know, when they see it happening when their friends are like beating up some kid who's being bullied, they learn from that behavior as if this is okay, this is how you act, this is how you act as a parent. And even though this subconsciously goes in, it does go in. So I think children need to, if they behave badly, they shouldn't be punished. I don't really believe in punishment, and I think a lot of people do, but I think it's more important not to frighten or hurt or scare the child into obedience. I think that's a whole problem with our society and with American society. I'm pretty much in American society. Canada's the same. Besides, okay, anyway. So we should, when they have positive actions, when they do good things, we should really reinforce those and really pay attention to them instead of just brush them off as if they're anything else. Like, oh, okay, that's great. Instead, we should really say wow, that was so great what you did, and really exaggerate the positiveness of that behavior. And for the negative ones, we should, I don't think we should punish or take anything away, but instead just try to show them that what they did wasn't the right thing, or this is unacceptable behavior, to have more of a conversation. And I think if that doesn't work, maybe punishment, but I think over time it will develop, or just ignore the bad behavior, because all the time children just want attention. It's very true. Anyway, so I was going to talk more about that, but this is sort of running out of time, and I wanted to cut it down a little. I need some fumbling errors, but maybe it's good. Okay.